I used to watch Rocky a lot when I was little, but I never stopped to think if the fights were actually realistic. Now that I've grown up a bit and I started to train, I thought maybe I should go and rewatch them and see how realistic they actually are. In this video I'll go through each fight chronologically and give my opinion on how realistic it looks and of course how entertaining it is. I'll also do the Creed movies, just for the fun of it. The first fight is against a legend called Spider Rico, and it's in a church. Right off the bat, Rico lands a left hook and Rocky clinches. There's some grandpa in between them trying to separate them and failing miserably. So far it's quite realistic. Rocky's defense is so bad actually that Spider Rico even hits him from the wrong side without stepping into his punch and still lands the hit. The fight is still going Rico's way until for some reason, even though he completely dominates it, he decides to headbutt Rocky. The ref didn't even care, by the way. And speaking of breaking the rules, Rocky then just lunges at him, fucks him up, and just keeps ground and pounding him, and somehow does not get disqualified. I'm telling you guys, Spider Rico should have fought Apollo Creed, not Rocky. I also don't understand why they're calling him a bum. What woman even watches boxing? The fight is not too unrealistic, by the way, but because of the blatant break of rules and ground and pound and not getting disqualified, I would give the fight 6 out of 10 realism. It was quite entertaining though, with the crowd throwing shit in the ring. I would give the fight like a Spider Rico hairline in entertainment.
You really got lucky today.
Yeah, lucky he didn't get disqualified. Rocky's second fight in the series is against Apollo Creed. Because Apollo thinks this is actually going to be a show and not an actual fight, he underestimates Rocky, takes him very lightly, and is clearly just toying around with him in the first round. He circles him, jabs him, talks trash until he fucks around a little too much and finds out. Rocky dodges a 1-2 and comes back with a devastating uppercut counter.
Hey, I don't believe it! The champ is down! Yes, he is!
Apollo was actually on the ground more than 10 seconds, but because Rocky didn't listen to the referee and didn't go to the neutral corner, he had more time to recover. So, in a different universe, Rocky could have been a champion after a first round knockout. Apollo then seems to start taking this more serious and comes back with a vengeance. He easily breaks through Rocky's non-existent defense and even scores a knockdown at the end of the round.
Apollo unloading a left. He really tied him up against the rope. He's back.
Although in these movies, I'm not sure if it even counts. You would think now that the champ is taking it seriously, the fight would be easy. But no, in the second round, Rocky manages to duck a left, hit him with his own right, then duck a right hook and do a beautiful left body shot, followed by a left hook that sends the champion on the ropes again. The next few rounds are competitive, showing Apollo Creed battering Rocky's face and Rocky battering Apollo's body. The rounds seem competitive, but they're mostly skipped through, until the 14th, where Apollo regains control and just batters an exhausted Rocky. I love this scene so much that I'll just let it speak for itself.
Down, down, stay down. Apollo dancing around with his arms in the air. Five, 6, 7, 8, 9. Apollo can't believe it.
Absolute cinema. I do have one nitpick though. Right here where Apollo is teeing off, he actually knocks down Rocky, but he stands right back up and the referee doesn't count. With his ribs now demolished, round 15 is absolute hell for the champion. Rocky goes at him, and while Apollo tries fighting back, Rocky overwhelms him and almost knocks him out, just to be saved by the bell. The judges give the fight to Apollo in a razor-close split decision. When it comes to realism, it's not bad, but it's not much better than the Spider-Rico fight. Rocky's hands are constantly down. Apollo Creed doesn't really step into his punches as much, so I'll give it a 7 out of 10. But when it comes to entertainment, oh boy, this fight could be the greatest fight in the Rocky series. And although Apollo isn't on the level of Spider-Rico, he'll always be remembered as Rocky's greatest opponent. So when it comes to entertainment, I would give it absolute cinema out of 10. Now we enter the second movie. The only fight in this movie is actually against Apollo Creed again. That is, if you don't count Mickey slapping Rocky. This time, Creed is in the shape of his life, and is absolutely sure that he'll be able to do enough to knock out Rocky. Rocky, on the other hand, comes in with a plan. He learns to fight orthodox until Mickey tells him to switch to southpaw. That way he'll be able to protect his damaged right eye more. He does also slip a couple of punches, something that he does stop doing later and decides to block everything with his head again. Because he's not really used to fighting orthodox, Apollo Creed is able to completely dominate the fight and pick him apart much better than the first time. At the end of the first, Creed lands a massive 10-punch combination to knock down Rocky. In the second round, Rocky manages to get Apollo to the corner and lands some decent body shots, but Apollo quickly regains control and knocks him down in a very stylish way.
Ready? Watch this now, watch this. He's going down. Here it comes.
This seems to wake up Rocky actually, as he comes back and unleashes some massive power shots to the body right at the end of the round, showing that it won't be so easy to take him out. Apollo is largely in control throughout the whole fight, with Rocky only having bursts of success, mostly when Apollo starts taunting him. The fight reaches the 15th round once again, and both fighters are beaten and battered. However, Apollo is largely ahead by points, and he could win the fight just by playing distance and staying away from Rocky. He does not accept that as a victory though. In his mind, the only way to prove that he's better is by knocking out Rocky. And despite his coach Duke begging him with tears in his eyes to play safe, he stands toe-to-toe with Rocky, bent on finishing this war. Apollo does his best, but he is facing a walking corpse that just won't go down. In the end, Rocky overwhelms him again, and after trading many punches, they both fall down. Apollo is unable to get up, and Rocky gets up at 9, winning the fight by knockout and becoming the new World Heavyweight Champion. If we're talking about realism, I think this one is a step above the first fight. They throw punches with a little bit more technique, also they step into them. The punches actually feel very powerful. So I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. And when it comes to entertainment, I think this is every bit as good as the first one, but a little less emotional since now you know what Rocky is capable of. You know, in the first movie nobody expected him to do what he did. So I'll give it a 9 out of 10 entertainment. I did miscalculate how long this video would be actually, so I think I'll split it into 2 or 3 part series. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. If you did enjoy the video, feel free to leave a comment telling me what you thought and how I can improve. And yeah, subscribe.